We're at the Licensing Expo 2014. I need to know what year we're in. It's 2014 at the Licensing Expo.
Right.
And I'm very honored that our next guest stopped by to say hello, the world famous Ted BlayLock. How are you doing today?
Good, good.
Thank you for taking time out of your busy Expo experience to stop by. How is it going so far?
Very good, very good. Had
And
some nice meeting some nice people.
And you're an old pro at this, right? How many years have you been at the Expo?
Well, we started in New York Art Expo in 98.
98.
Yeah, so I guess that's just about 16 years.
Wow,
Yeah.
so you're very comfortable here at the show, and people love your work, and we're going to take a look at that very shortly here. But first, for those of you who may not know, tell us a little bit about how you got your start in the art world.
I could draw whenever I was a kid, and I was encouraged by my teachers.
Okay.
My brother and I, after about, I guess 1947, 48, we would compete with each other. We had an aunt that was a very fine artist. And so we would have, back then, paper wasn't really that available. So we would get the brown paper bags from the grocery store. We would save those, and we would be on the floor doing our drawings and comparing our drawings with each other. And he was 4 years older than me, so he was a lot better than me.
He was winning back then. He would beat
yeah.
you.
So that started it, and that was always my goal, to be a painter, to be an artist. And then by the time I went through teenage stage, that my art teachers in junior high school and high school told me that I had something special. And she would give me the whole hallway by the principal's office to display my artwork.
Really?
Yeah, and she even got me a job whenever I was about 16, 17 years old from a company that needed an illustrator. So that was the first pieces that I ever did.
And where was your childhood? Where did you grow up?
East St. Louis, Illinois. And then from then, I started doing my art, enjoying my art and everything, but by the time I was 21, I had a wife and 3 children. We had twins the first year, one the next year. So, you have to go to work. And my dream as being an artist, I didn't figure out how I was going to be an artist. I was working for the railroad full time. I had a part-time job on the side to help the family through and everything. And I would try to do my art as much as I could. Saturday was always my painting day. And my goal was that if I could just someday make it. And so I went to trade school, and I was a construction steam fitter. I worked 60, 80 feet in the air on structural steel.
Can't
and
be
did
afraid
my
of
artwork did my artwork at night, and I started selling my work while I was a steam fitter welder. I would go to banks, theaters, and restaurants, and I would offer them this proposal. I said, I'll give you a 4-foot by 8-foot panel, all covered with fabric and lighted, and I'll hang my little pictures on it in your lobbies, and I'll give you 10%. And they took me up on it. So I had these scattered all through the St. Louis area, and I would take my little paintings my little originals would sell for $10, $10 to $15, and I would put them on this panel, and they would sell.
They were getting the steel back. They were getting them for steel back then.
And in my mind, my dream was if I could just make a living painting.
Yeah.
So in 1967, had a lot of overtime as a steam fitter, and that year I made $32,000. For 1967, that was a lot of money. And we had a little nest egg rather, and I told the wife, I said, we could either take that money and we could start doubling up payments on the house, or we could put it on the art. And she said, what do you mean, put it on the art?
Right.
And I said, well, I have to go through an apprenticeship period to where I get clients, I find my market, and that I can get better. And we'll have to live off of that. And I said, what do you think? And she says, whatever you think is fine with me.
Aww.
And so I quit the job, and my last year as a steam fitter was $32,000. My first year as an artist, we made $3,000.
And she was still, was she?
And the next year, I told her, I said, I
It's
had
gonna
a
take some
journeyman's,
time.
I had a journeyman's book in my wallet. I said, I'll never let you starve, and I'll never let the kids starve. If I have to go back to welding, I will. But I just kept going, and the next year was 6,000, and next year was 8,000, and next year was 12,000. And it took me, I think we figured out one time it took me 8 years, and I was making 100,000 a year.
And you never had to go back to welding?
No.
Well,
no.
let's take a look at some of these images you brought with us today. That is amazing. What a good wife you have there. Letting you pursue the dream and doing what you know you were meant to do. So taking a look at some of these, it's definitely inspired by your work. You said you were working on the railway.
I worked at the railroad. That had a lot of influence on my subject matter.
Okay.
I always enjoyed history, and I had 2 subjects in school, history and art, and that's all I was really interested in.
It was more of the railway.
Yeah, this one here is Silver Bell Run. This was a piece I had one client over a period of 9 years. He purchased $480,000 worth of my work.
Wow.
And I did this painting for him, and he bought that painting for $25,000. This was 20 years ago that I painted this.
Wow.
And then he gave it away as a housewarming present.
He understands the value of your work and how beautiful it is. That is snowy. Is this the Midwest snow that has inspired
This
you?
one here is the Wabash Railroad, and that was a railroad that I worked for. It was the old Wabash out of St. Louis.
Okay.
And this was a Bluebird Special, a picture of the Bluebird Special going up through Chicago up into Minnesota, up into Michigan rather.
And where are you based out of now? Are you still back in the Midwest?
No, at that time, whenever I painted that, I was in Arizona.
Oh, you're in Arizona. Are you still in Arizona?
I'm still in Arizona.
Okay, a little less snow there.
Yeah.
But I love.
Yeah, this is another one of my train series.
Okay.
At this time, I was painting so many of these train pieces I was selling with a publishing company out of Minneapolis. Mm-hmm. And they said at the time, I'm trying to think exactly what that was. They told me they was selling my eagle paintings.
Okay.
And I told them, I said, you know, you really ought to probably publish some of my trains because they sell well on the original market. And they said, no, I don't think we ought to do that. And I said, well, really, you ought to do it because that's where.
Yeah.
And the first one they put out, they sold the edition out in about 6 months. This was a large painting. This piece was 4 foot by 7 foot, and I painted this piece for the state of Arizona. They flew me through the Salt River Canyon. At that time, and this has been 20-some years ago, they were having a problem with the survival rate of the chicks, of the eaglets. And so they flew me. This is a picture of Salt River Canyon.
Okay.
And they flew me right over that rock. Now there wasn't an eagle on that rock, but it had such character in the picture itself. And off in the background, that is Becker Butte. And about 30 miles on the other side of that is where my summer cabin was, up in the White Mountains of eastern Arizona. So this picture meant a lot to me, and so I did this picture of an eagle family.
Very personal.
And then we use that as a fundraiser for the Nest Watch program in Arizona for a couple of years there.
Good too.
This is the same client that I did so much business with.
In Minnesota.
I would do an eagle piece for him, and they were always 3 foot by 5 foot. Now he would fly me. He flew me up to Homer, Alaska, for that piece. And this is another one of the pieces I did for him.
Man, these are just so huge. They're taller than me.
Yeah.
How do you work then? Are they on? Do you have a studio? Do you lay them flat on the easels, or how do you, I mean?
I have what they call a Hughes easel. It will expand up to 9 feet. You can really do large pieces.
Do you have to paint on the ladder then? How do you paint?
Whenever you do have a vertical, you have to get on you have to make a pedestal, and to get on a higher seat, and if you have to get on a ladder, you have to do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, and this is
Yeah, this piece here is a bighorn sheep called Bighorn Hideaway, and I sold this to a lady. Her family, they owned all of the Winn-Dixie grocery stores in the United States, and she bought a nice collection of our work.
so lots of wildlife and nature.
I love to hunt and fish.
Oh, okay, there we
So
go.
I'm out there anyway.
I suspected
Yeah,
that's where your inspiration
yeah.
came from. I just can't say how grateful I am for you stopping by and sharing a little bit of your story with us today.
All right.
I'm sure you've got many more good ones, but
Okay.
we'll end there.
That's good.
But definitely go check out some more of his work and more of his paintings, and just thank you again for stopping by.
Thank you.
This has been Rochelle Bear with ArtMoose.